Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today for our gPanel Office Hours webinar. We're going to post a poll, and what we want to know is what type of workspace challenges are you facing? So, to give you some examples, a lot of our clients tell us they have security and identifying and eliminating threats. That's one of the challenges they have. Another one is efficient employee onboarding and offboarding. Like, how do I automate this? That tends to happen a lot. Oh, and sometimes that happens like they want to tie it to their HRIS system or to another platform that they have. Getting insights into user activities. This has been coming up lately for us, where a lot of our admins and other clients are telling us that they want to know when an employee shares sensitive documentation externally outside of the organization. They want us to alert them. So are there, of the three that I mentioned right now, are there others that are not on that list? So let us know. We are curious to know that. Mark, how are the polls doing?
Okay, taking a look at the polls, we have a lot of people here that are interested in onboarding and offboarding efficiencies and automation. And I think that's something we're going to go over today.
Yep.
So stay tuned.
All right. That tends to be number one, right, Mark? I feel like that's always the number one thing we always see from clients is how do I make that easier? How do I automate that process?
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Okay, so what's the number two, Mark?
The next thing we have here, getting insights into user activities.
Yes, that makes sense. We always get that one also. For those of you that are on the webinar, gPanel, we just released in June, we released the activities report. The activities report will tell you all your employees' activities regarding documents. It will tell you when they shared it, who they shared it with. If you have the standard tier of gPanel, you'll see up to 6 months, which is what Google gives you. If you have the enterprise tier, we're going to give you beyond 6 months. So, and for those activities report, we give you everything for if your employees share from My Drive, from their My Drive, if they share from Share Drive, if they shared publicly from My Drive or Share Drive, we have reports for those as well. Mark, I don't know about you, but I always feel like that report is one of the most used reports now in gPanel.
Yes, it is. I have a lot of clients always asking about it and needing to know that information. Exactly. Super important.
And the most recent one, and also for the folks on the call, I just want to mention, especially if you care about activities that are happening externally, we also added those same reports as decommissioning rules. So if I am leaving your organization, let's say in 10 days, you can actually create a decom rule that will send a report to my hiring manager of all the documents that I've shared externally from My Drive, from Share Drive, and also from publicly as well. So, Mark, I feel like you've been getting a lot of calls on those decom rules.
On the decom rules, yes, and I am going to give a little bit of a demonstration on that in a few minutes, and I'll go ahead and walk through. So hopefully that answers, once we go through the demonstration, that'll answer a lot of your questions. But if you have more questions after that, more specific questions, we'll just submit your questions and we'll be happy to follow up with you.
All right. All right. Okay. So everyone, it's about 10:05. I want to mention for those that are just joining us, there are two tabs on the right. One is the questions pane where you can ask us questions. You can put your questions there, and then of course there's a second tab which is the chat, and you can chat with other members of the webinar, and of course with Promevo. And we just pull the audience. We added some workspace challenge questions that we've been getting from our clients, and we want to know if you're experiencing the same things. And right now, number one is onboarding and offboarding, doing that, automating that efficiently. And then of course, the second is external activities. What are my employees doing externally? What are they sharing? All right, Mark. So how are we doing on the poll?
We are, the next big one is security, identifying and eliminating threats.
Yeah, that makes sense. We've gotten that quite a lot from our clients. And if you could please, while you're answering that, tell us exactly what that is. What is that need that you need? What is the problem that you want us to solve regarding security, identifying and eliminating threats? All right, everybody. While that's going on, we're going to go ahead and get started because there's so much to show you. So like I said, welcome to the gPanel Office Hours webinar. So today, we're going to do some introductions. So Mark, can you go ahead and introduce yourself, and I'll introduce myself as well.
Thanks, Ronki. Hello, my name is Mark, and I'm with the system support team here at Promevo, and I'm on the team that helps if you have any questions with gPanel or with your workspace admin console. Me and my team are here to help.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mark. All right, everybody. I am Ronki Magic Adumi. I'm the Director of Product here at Promevo, and I'm super, super excited to be able to participate in this webinar and to get to know you all. All right. So today we're going to talk about the Promevo history and overview. We're going to talk about the gPanel overview, and then we're going to do a deep dive into gPanel features. So Promevo. So I kind of want to talk about who we are and what we do. So if you're looking to get more out of Google Workspace subscription, Promevo, we have an exclusive gPanel software. And as you can see, we also have other services we sell, we build services, gPanel, Chrome OS, Google Cloud, and of course, we sell Google Workspace. And we can provide you with our 14-year Google partnership relationship, we can help you. We can do everything that you possibly need for your organization. We can provide a total solutions package, as you can see here. And then with gPanel, what do we aim for? Oh, it's so simple. What's in our DNA? We want to make your work life better. So how do we do that? Well, we do that with gPanel. As you know, gPanel is an exclusive Google Workspace and reporting and management solution. And using our software, our clients and the Google administrators have the tools they need to manage users in their domain and protect sensitive information. Plus, our software allows admins to oversee files and email communications and other internal process. Our gPanel is a revolutionary tool for any workspace domain. So that's gPanel. So what are the benefits of gPanel? gPanel is constantly evolving and improving by customer feedback and suggestions. And for that reason, the software is more than just a standard out-of-the-box workspace solution. It's intuitive, it is feature rich, and of course, software, and it perfectly complements your Google Admin Console. So that's the benefits of gPanel. From this webinar today, the takeaways, we're going to show you how to automate your onboarding flows. We're going to use user management dashboard. We're going to show you how to use that to save time. We're going to generate custom DCOM rules that we mentioned. We're going to generate run. As you know, gPanel has over 70 reports that are not in Google Admin Console. We're going to walk through two of the most popular ones in gPanel so that you can see how they work. And then we're going to show you how to modify Gmail signatures for any department, anyone in your organization. So that's what we're planning to show you today. All right. So Mark, you can take it away.
Okay, thank you, Ronki. Okay, and here we go. So here is a quick look at gPanel. For those of you who are unfamiliar, this is the gPanel homepage. It starts you off in the user management section. So today we're going to cover just a few tools. We can't go over everything, but we'll do an overview on some of the some tools that would address some of the questions that you had. Firstly, we'll just start at the beginning with user creation. In the user management section, you can normally just create a user using the add user icon in the upper right. But before we do that, one great way for admins to save time is to actually first create a policy, a new user creation policy. And I'm going to be demonstrating that here. So what a new user creation policy is a policy that it's a policy that contains a list of actions that you can apply to a user when you're creating their account. And this will save you a lot of time because normally you would have to create the account and then do all of the other things behind the scenes that you'll have to do for each account. So this, by creating a policy, you configure it once and you take the time to do that. And then afterwards you apply it very quickly. When you're on the policy list here, you see that you can sort by by policy type. So we have two types. We have new user creation policies. We have a few created here. We also have standard policies that we won't go over today, but we'll go over that in a future session. So just to give you an example of how one of these policies goes. Well, first of all, we have the policy name here, the policy type, when the policy was created and when it was last run, and the actions column gives you a a quick look into what actions this policy contains. And so, for example, this new user demo, this contains adding a delegate to the account, adding this person to a shared drive, and then creating a Gmail label. I'm gonna go ahead and edit this policy so you can see what it's like when you create a policy or when you edit a policy. When you create or edit a policy, it will bring up this policy wizard page. And all you have to do is follow the sequence of steps here, and you will have created your policy. So I'm going to move on to the next page since the first one has already been created. The actions page here, this is probably the most important part of the policy. This gives you the ability to select which actions from the available actions. So this pane here are the available actions, and when you select an action, it gets moved over to your selected actions. So these are the 3 actions that were selected, and you can unselect them by hitting this minus sign or add them back on by hitting the plus sign. You could also use the check boxes if you wish. These are just some of the policies I've chosen to use for this user creation policy. I'm going to head to the next page. Each of the actions that you selected will have a set of sub-actions, and you can see here, these are the 3 I've selected, and it's asking for further configuration. So adding a user to the shared drives, if you select this policy, you'll have a list of your company's shared drives, and you can see I've already added 1 shared drive here. I can remove them. I can remove this if I wanted to, or I could add in several others. You can pick whichever ones you'd like, add them in. And when you're happy with that, you can move on to the next action. In this case, my next action is creating a Gmail label. So Gmail label, this could be great if you wanted to start your user off with a label already created in their Gmail. We'll say maybe a label called safety. If you wanted to add that label in, you can go ahead and add it in. So now this person has 2 labels from the very beginning, demo and safety, or this policy contains 2 labels. If you're happy with that, you can go on to your next your next action. In this case, we're going to be adding a delegate in this policy. And as you can see, I've added myself as a delegate here. You can browse through your roster and add any other delegates you wish to add. Once you're happy with that, you'd go on to the next section, which is target exclusions. In the target exclusion section, it's optional, but you can choose to exclude any user here that you'd like. Oh, it doesn't auto-pop. Oh, here we go. You just choose from the list here, and you can exclude a user if you'd like, but it's optional, so we're going to skip that for now. Once you're happy with it, the review section will give you a chance to quickly review the policy, which is the policy name, the type of policy it is, the actions here, the name of the action, and then the way you've configured the action for each of your actions here. And then you have the option to send a notification email to anyone that you choose, but that's also optional. Once you submit the policy, it'll appear on your list here, and it'll become available when you create a new user, and I'll take you over that right now. So creating a new user, we'll head back to the user management section, and I'll take you through a user creation really quick. Hitting that plus sign in the upper right there. Once again, we'll go through the sequence of steps to create the new user. I'll just create a test user here. All right, so you just fill out the necessary information. You can randomize their password, go to the next step. Here you can choose in what OU or organizational unit they will be created in. You can either choose your root OU or any sub OUs that you'd like. And oops, probably not that one. And once you make your selection, you also have the option here to assign them a role, a cPanel role and a gPanel role. And cPanel refers to your Google Admin Console. They could be a user, admin, and then your gPanel role, user, admin, or any custom role you've created. You also have the ability to force a password reset on their next login, which we recommend. So that's defaulted to yes. And share the user profile to the company directory. That's also defaulted to yes, but you can turn that off if you'd like. The next step is assigning them to a group. Now, this part is optional. You don't have to assign them to a group, but if you'd like to, you can just hit browse, pick a group that you'd like, assign them to the group, and then assign their group role. So you can do that from the very beginning here. So we'll just go ahead and assign them to this group. the profile information. So this information is all of the information that you'd commonly add to an employee when they begin or when you onboard them. So we have job title, their work number, their manager's email. This will all go into their profile information, which other tools will be referencing, such as the signature template. So filling this out as completely as possible will allow you to utilize the other tools we have in gPanel to make everything more automated. So once this is all filled out, you would go to the next section. You can send a welcome letter just by clicking here. And clicking here, you can see it gives you the option for the welcome letter. So we'll go to the next step. You can send the default welcome letter, which it appears here. You can edit it if you'd like to. And if you have built other welcome letters, you can also select from your list of other welcome letters here. Once you're happy with what you'd like to send, the last step will be the policy section. And as you can see, these are all of the policies that were in the new user policy section that we were looking at previously. So here's a list of the policies. This eyeball icon, if you click on it, it will give you a preview, again, of what the policy is, what its actions are, and so forth. And then you can actually select which policies you'd like to add by using the check marks or using the plus sign, and then you can delete them the same way. Once you're happy with the policies applied, you would simply submit. This user would be created, and all of the actions in the policies that you've selected would be applied to that user. So it's a great time saver. This pretty much covers everything you'd need during the onboarding. And then so any modifications you make later on would just be very slight modifications. We're going to move on to while we're here on the user management section, I'm actually going to choose one of our users here that has some information. Oops. In the user management section, when you select a user from your list, or if you search for a user like I did, it gives you the ability to manage, this is their dashboard. It gives you the ability to quickly view and manage very important aspects about your user. The first part here, you'll have the ability to change the user's photo. You can see the user's name, their email address, their title, what organizational unit they're currently in, the time that the account was created, the last time that they signed in, whether or not two-step authentication is enabled, and their storage. So their storage broken down with email and drive storage and total storage. I won't go through every section here because there's a lot to cover, but a lot of it is self-explanatory. Very common things that you could do, changing their password and so forth. Some things I would like to cover, though, are in the Gmail section. You have a lot of things that you can do here that you wouldn't be able to do just in the admin console. You'd have to actually work with your user and jump into their Gmail settings and so forth. But here you can, just through gPanel, you can add a delegate to an account. You can see that 3 users have been delegated to Phil currently. You can do things like create a filter, create a vacation responder, and this is great. You can disable and enable a vacation responder, set the dates of the vacation responder, and then actually edit what you want the vacation responder to say. So this is great if somebody needs to take a leave of absence and they didn't have time to properly set up their vacation responder. You can just go ahead and do it for them. So it's very handy to have this. And down here, just a sneak peek, this is the signature for this one single user. Later on, I'll be showing you how to configure the signatures for your entire domain, if you'd like, or for any user you'd like. But here, you can preview a person's signature. You can also modify it if you'd like, and I'll show you how to do that. This is their current signature. This is a list of other signatures that we've created that you can apply to the user if you'd like to. If you hit save, it would override. One last thing I'd like to talk about while I'm here. Oh, actually, a couple of things. The drive section is super important. From here, you have the ability to look into a person's My Drive, the labels within their My Drive, and any shared drives that they are shared onto. You can see if I highlighted My Drive, oops, I had it highlighted. You can see their file and folder structure. And you can do things like view the document, edit the sharing, rename it, move it around, and put it in the trash can. edit the sharing is very important because from here, you're able to see who's already shared onto a file or a folder. You can add in a person if you'd like to, or remove them, and you can adjust their editing capabilities, all from gPanel. So very handy. Last thing I'd like to talk about here are third-party applications. Third-party applications, so these are applications that the user has accessed with their credentials. So we've got the application name, and then the permissions that that application has been granted. And you, as the admin, have the ability to select an application and revoke access to it if you'd like to. That is everything we're going to talk about there. But if you had any specific questions on anything else, like I said, please feel free to let us know. Next, we're going to jump down to, we know you had some questions about automation. So one of the things that you can really save a lot of time with is automating the offboarding process. So it's the opposite of the onboarding, basically just gathering a bunch of actions that you'd like to perform during the offboarding of a user. And so let's see what I've got here. The policy list, this is a list of different offboarding policies we've already created. So you may want to create different sorts of offboarding policies if you are offboarding users just in different ways. Perhaps you have a seasonal employees or contractors or full-time employees, and you may want to offboard them in different ways. So this gives you the ability to package your actions and kind of customize it towards the user that you're offboarding. I'm going to go into one of these policies to show you what it's like. I highlight it, I hit edit policy, and this is the way the policy is set up. So the policy is set up so that you specify an organizational unit. In this case, it's called MBDCOM2. And that means anybody who's placed into this organizational unit, they will have whatever actions you've selected here kick off on their user in the sequence that you'd like it to kick off. So for example, right now I only have transfer calendars selected, but I can actually add any of these user actions. We have 4 categories: user actions, document actions, Gmail actions, and mobile actions. So it pretty much covers everything you'd want to do during the decommissioning. I'm just going to choose a few that are pretty common. So resetting a password is something you'd like to do. Transferring a calendar, transferring, transferring their documents, and then perhaps like deleting them after a while. So these are the ones I've selected for this particular policy. If I click on any of them, I can go ahead and further configure them by adding in a when I would like the policy to execute. So it's always set to immediately. However, I can slide this over and choose the number of days out. Perhaps I want to set the, actually, I do want to set the password reset to immediately. I want them to immediately have their password reset. Or actually, oh, I'm sorry, I want to transfer calendars. Sorry about that. So maybe I want to transfer the calendars maybe 4 days out. And then I can also further configure it to transfer the calendar either to their manager or to a specific user we have in our organization. You can choose that too. So each of these has a different way to set its configuration. So resetting the password, I'd want to do that immediately. Transfer docs, let's say we'll give that 2 days and transfer it to their manager. And then deleting a user, this is probably the one I want to do after I'm done with everything else. So I'll probably set this to 30 days, something like that. All right. And so when you're happy with the actions that you've selected and the way you've configured it, you can simply save the policy and it'll appear. Oh, I forgot to add in an email, or did I? Let's see. Let's transfer calendars. Oh, transfer docs. I forgot to add in an email here. I'll send it to the manager. Once you save it, it'll appear back on your list here, and it's ready to go. You can see that this policy is active because it says true here. You can change that over by selecting the policy. You can disable a policy if you'd like to by hitting disable. You can delete it, make a copy of the policy, or once again, edit it like I just did. That's a quick overview of how you can create a decommissioning, and you can see how much time it can save you when you're offboarding a user. And not only that, you know that you can have full control of all of the actions that take place. Actually, I totally forgot to take you over one thing that we mentioned earlier, document section. Let me get rid of these just to make it a little bit cleaner. We do have the ability to, as you offboard a user, some of the actions we have are to generate reports that are extremely helpful for the security and your visibility of what happened with activities throughout the life cycle of this person's drive. So we have activities shared externally from their My Drive, activities shared. These are all reports that get generated. Activities shared externally from their shared drives, and then the same thing for My Drive and shared drive, but shared publicly for both of those. So you can select those to be generated when they get offboarded. So I just wanted to go over that really quickly because I know it was mentioned in the questions. Okay, looking at the time, I'm gonna kind of speed things up a little bit here. Talking about reports, we're actually going to jump into reports. So gPanel offers 70 reports in gPanel Standard, and there are 12 of the top most used reports in gPanel Starter. Can't go over every single report, but I will go over some of the top reports. Once you've created a report, by the way, it'll remain on your report list here, and you have the ability to run it again, or you can go into it and edit it, change the way you've set it up, and then rerun it if you'd like to. So in this case, I have reports I've already created. Here we go. We're gonna run. I've created this MB Cal Events report. I can run it immediately, but I just kind of want to edit it for right now just to show you how you can build a report. So building a report, once again, you go through this sequence of steps. You can choose from the list of all these reports here. Like I said, there's too many to cover, but this happens to be a calendar events report. You can set these sliders to run manually, and you can also run the report on a schedule if you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and enable that and click next. For this particular report, it's asking for a date range. I've chosen the date range starting from October 2nd to November 14th, so about a month and a half. Destination folder, if you'd like to, you can select a destination folder to put this report directly into your My Drive into one of the folders, but this part is optional. If you wanted to, though, you would just hit select file and it'll take you through the steps to do that. Your sources, this is the scope of your report. Currently, I have it set to my entire domain, but that's a little too big. I'll just kind of run it on one user, which will be myself, and see what happens. Oh, actually, it might be easier to type my name in. And I'll also put in my buddy, Phil. Okay, so I'm going to run this report on 2 people. Email notifications. This is optional. If I wanted to, I can place an email there for somebody to get notified when the report runs. Sharing is optional as well. I can share somebody on the report directly from here, or I could do it later on. I'm just going to skip that for now. And running it on a schedule, I can select to run it days of the week, days of the month, or every month. I'll just select it to run every Monday at 12 a.m. Once again, I can review all of my settings here. And when I'm ready, I'm going to hit run report immediately after saving. Yes, submit that. By sliding that last slide over to yes, it's going to cause a pop-up to happen. And then I can launch the report immediately here, like so. It launches in a new tab. It may take some time to generate here. So I've already generated it previously. So depending on the scope of your report, it may take some time. Yeah, so that one's going to take some time. So I've reported it. I've generated it previously. I think I only had myself here, so you can kind of see how this report was configured. You can see the number of meetings that I had in the past month and a half, number of attendees, events using Meet, and events not using Google Meet. So that's sort of a preview of that report. One more report I want to run through is often asked report. Is the do I have it here? I do. This report's super important. It's a report. I'll give you the full title here. Reporting on documents that contain credit card numbers or social security numbers or phone numbers. So pretty self-explanatory why that would be important to have a report showing those three things. So you can choose what you want the report to look for, either Social Security, credit card or phone numbers, or everything. Go ahead and hit next. And once again, this part is optional. Destination folders. These are the columns that you can add. So currently there would be nothing, but if you wanted to add only certain columns, you can, or you can add every column and just get the full report. I'm going to add every column, hit next. I'm just going to run it on myself because running it on my entire domain may take too long. Email notifications, I'm going to skip that and share. And we'll run this really quickly and I'll show you the type of information it will display. Launch that. It launches in a new sheet. And I think this one also took quite a bit of time. So I had it pre-made here. So this is what it will look like eventually. So you have the user in question here. That would be me. The document title. The type of violation, so this particular document, it had a phone number, this one had a social security number, etc. This is the regular expression. These are the matches, which means the exact criteria it was searching for. So these are social security numbers. Don't worry, these are all fake. If you go forward, this is the MIME type, so it'll tell you whether it was a spreadsheet or a document and so forth. And this is an actual link to the document itself, so you can actually go to it. So that's a little bit about that report. And as you can just kind of see, super helpful in seeing what's being shared or what's being created in your users' drives. Okay, so I'm going to quickly move over to, our last thing I think we have time to talk about today would be signatures. So getting back to signatures, we did a little preview of signature, of Phil's signature, but here I'm going to go into a little bit more. So here is the signature section where you can build signatures and then you can push them out to a user or multiple users. I've got a basic signature here. It's already pre-built. I'm going to make a clone of it so we can go inside and see the way it's built. This is a signature that we've got created. The way we create these is you can either type something in here if you'd like to, like name, and you can see if I type something in, it appears down here in the preview section. This box below is the preview box. If I don't want to type something in, I can actually just use our custom schemas, which makes things very easy. I can choose anything regarding a user, an email, phone number, etc. And like I said before, the more you fill out in the user profile, the more fields this has to pull from. So for example, if I was to create another email here and say primary email, I think I have primary. I think I do. I'll do work email. If I add that in, you can see that it got added here and down here. I did not have a primary email, work email, associated with this user. So it didn't generate anything. So the more you have, the more it will generate. Again, you have options to, you can build custom schema fields. So these are any custom attributes that you've created for your user. You can pull from them here. So these are a few that we've created. Then you can add that in just by dropping in your cursor and hitting add. And then these are Gmail fields. These are if you have anyone that's using a send as address as their main address, you can use that. You can link to that rather than their primary email. If you'd like to, you can add that in there. And then of course you have all the different ways that you can format the different letters, sizes, colors, so forth. You can also click on the HTML and have access to the HTML behind the signature if you wanted to do something like change the size of an image and so forth. And of course, you can add in images here and you can create links. You can generate links. So pretty much everything that you need to do to create a signature. After you've created a signature and you've saved it, it'll appear on your list here. And you can choose which signature you'd like to push out. And to push it out to a group of users, you would hit the scheduling icon right up here. It looks like a clock. And you go through the sequence once again. You can choose to enable or disable certain features. Like if we want it to manually run, we'll just enable that. If we want to set a schedule, which is particularly helpful if you wanted to override signatures or signature changes that a person does. You maybe set the signature to override every month or every week, something like that. You can choose what it applies on, which send as addresses, all their send as addresses, or just their default or just their primary, and so forth. The next one would be the target section. Here is where you can choose the scope of it. Are you going to choose user and apply it to specific users by selecting them? Or are you going to go by group and choose maybe your sales group gets a certain signature, so forth, or that would be HR, sorry. And then we have organization. You could apply it by OU, or you could apply it to your entire domain. And if you had a subdomain, a secondary domain, maybe you're going to apply it to your secondary domain as well. Next, we have the notifications. Once again, this is optional, so I'm just going to say no. But you can set that. And then once again, we have the schedule here. So days of the week, I'll say every Monday. Next, you have a chance to review it and then actually apply it after you save it. So I'm actually going to hit no because I don't really want to apply that the way it is. But once you review it and you're happy with it, you can submit it. Since I hit no, it's not going to apply to anybody. But if I wanted to run it, I can simply highlight it. Oops, I'm sorry. Put a check by it, I should say, and then hit this paper airplane. It will run the signature as configured. And I think that might be all we have time for at the moment, but we can go ahead and answer any questions that you had right now.
So Mark, one question we have is, you might have mentioned this, but can you enforce the signature templates?
Enforce the signature templates? Yes, you can. By setting a schedule, you can't stop your users from modifying their signature, but you can always override it. You can even set it to override every single day if you'd like to. So in that way, you can enforce the signatures. Yes.
Thank you, Mark. Another question we have is, since you're covering reports, as I am writing this, how about device usage reports, Chromebooks?
Oh, that's a great question. Let me take a look. I'm not sure if we have a report for that yet.
We are working on we're working on device management soon, and we'll have some charts and some reports. But we do have a mobile application report, which we recently added in gPanel.
Let's see, right there.
Right.
Yes.
We do have that, but there'll be more reports coming for Chromebooks in the future, and mobile devices. Yeah.
Here's the list of the actions.
Exactly.
Oh, so everything you'd need: their name, email address, the OS, the type of device it is. Oh, first and last sync. That's great. Mm-hmm. Serial number. Pretty much everything you would need.
Right.
So if I went ahead and configure that, we'll just run it real quick so we can get the full spreadsheet. But while that's generating, if you'd like to go on to the next question, this might take a few minutes.
Thank you, Mark. There's another question here that says, when will the report section become more intuitive? We are right now, it's not very clear which report does what. We have gotten that feedback, and we're working on the gPanel reskin. One of the things we're planning to do is make some changes in the report section so that it's more intuitive and consistent. You can see what the reports what the description of the reports are before you pull it. We're looking at having a report center at some point. So it is in the works.
It did make sense when we didn't have as many reports, but now it's becoming a little unwieldy. So we totally understand what you mean, and we are working to get everything categorized a little bit nicer.
There's another question. Is there a way to transfer drive files to shared drive when decommissioning an account? Transfer a drive files to a shared drive.
To a shared drive, I don't believe you can at the moment. You can only transfer it to another user, or I think to a group as well.
Yeah. Right now, we don't have the ability we don't have the capability to transfer it to a shared drive, but I've noted that as one thing for us to do some research on to see if Google allows it. If Google allows it, then we should be able to do it in gPanel. And then there's another question here, Mark. Is there a place to see all third-party applications that are being used and have the ability to block company-wide if there are security concerns?
Oh, all third party. In one, not on one page, I believe. Oh, wait. Oh, let me take a look at the report section. If we can generate a report, that would be the first step. Oh, actually, sorry. One tool that we didn't go over today is the bulk operations. If we had it, it might be here in bulk operations. But it doesn't sound familiar to me. We might not have it just yet. Let's see. No, I think we have a report for it, and that would at least give you the visibility. Let me take a look. Let me make sure that we do before I say that. Yeah, we have a third-party applications report. And because we can generate the report, you'd be able to have visibility of the third-party applications. We could possibly do the second part as part of a feature request would be, and I think your question was if you can turn them off. And so we could possibly work on that. I know Ronki's going to note that down and follow up with our development team to see if that's a possibility. Right. But we have the first part of it.
There's one more question here is, can we schedule the welcome letter be sent on a particular date and time?
Currently, no. We can't just send it out by itself, but perhaps it's something we can add in. You can create custom welcome letters in administration settings, welcome letters. And you can see here we have 2, but there's not yet a way to just push it out or schedule it. Right. But great question. Perhaps something we can work on.
Really quickly, there's one I think we can answer. It says, what about the ability to transfer one or more files in someone's My Drive?
Oh, to transfer it to another user? Yeah, you can do that. You can either do it from the user themselves or from the Drive section.
Yep.
You can select a user here. Once again, I'll just use my own user, or my own account, I should say. So I can choose a file here. I can either click on the box here and then go to the actions icon and then hit move. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say transfer? I can move it around in my Drive files, or I can edit the sharing. I can add somebody else to it, and let me add. Oh, I don't know if I know Phil's last name.
Chumley. C-H.
Okay.
C-H-U-M-L-E-Y, yeah.
Let me just demonstrate how it works. It's kind of a 2-step process, so I just wanted to take you through it. All right, so once you add somebody here, I'm going to share them to the file. Now that they're here, I can actually go in and, oh, I can't. Let me see. Let me change the sharing settings. Oh, shoot. No, not working. Let me get back to you. There's a certain setting in which I can actually make Phil the owner. Yeah. I think it was one of those other settings. I can't quite see at the moment. Okay, thanks so much and have a good day. Thanks.